Okay, so welcome to issue 51, and in this issue we have got 7 listed parts, and they are: number 1 is hull panel TP9, and that's this piece here. Yeah, TP9. Okay, so that's that piece. We have hull frame TF15. Sorry, I couldn't read the letter. I do wear separate reading and driving glasses, and I actually have my driving glasses on to do this, not my reading glasses, so please forgive not being able to read properly. So that looks like it's going to be this one, TF15. We have hull frame TF14, which is this one, and we can tell it's going to be an outer frame. And then piece number 4 is a radial stiffening rib, and that's a small one. And then we have a 5 is another radial stiffening rib, which is a longer one. So this one tends to go on the end, sort of like about there, and this will join. And then we have a rib connector, and this is the one that the brass screws will go through. So this will help us identify the brass screws that I couldn't identify earlier. And then lastly we have 3 2-hole connectors, which you've seen these before, and I'll just pop these in the box when I get a chance. Okay, so for this stage we're going to need this complete framework that we've got so far. We've got frames TF14 and 15. We've got the radial stiffening rods, the 2-hole connectors, and a rib connector. We're obviously going to need black screws and some brass screws as well. So what we're going to do first of all, we're going to connect 2 2-hole connectors. One there and one there, and we'll do this in the usual way. So again, I'm going to have to turn this round because I'm right-handed, so it's just going to be easier for me to work this way. Can you still see that? Yes. So the screw can go in there, and we'll screw the first one in just enough so it's loose, because you know we don't know if this is going to go in exact. We won't know until we connect the next piece. And I've just lost, there we are, I thought I'd lost the black screw. So second black screw in, and that goes in like that. I do apologise, I'm covering the camera up, and that's gone in okay there. I'm just going to tighten that up slightly, not fully tight, just enough to stop it from flapping. So once that's in, we take frame TF14, 2 more black screws, and we can screw that in to the existing framework. So just bring that in, and I'm not going to fully tighten these until I've got both of the bits in. There we go, that's fine. And pop this screw in, that goes there. Lovely. So that one's in tight. I'm still concerned about this being loose. I'm pretty sure that once we've got all of the framework on and all the panels in place, that will tighten up. It could just be I've got a defect part. So, but I'm going to go with the fact it's going to tighten up, because look, you see there's only one connector there. I will just give it another double check, because in the last week it might have just worked loose. So there we go, that's fine, I'm okay with that. So we now need to put a 2-hole connector there, and I'm going to do a bit of a dry fit here. So yeah, 2-hole connector coming down there, and Yeah, it should be a 4-hole. Yeah, so then, yeah, that's fine. So one black screw. Just move that out of the way so you can see what I'm doing, and also that I can see what I'm doing. So pop the screw in. We'll just pop that in almost fully tight, and then we can fit frame TF15, and that's going to go in there. One on the corner is going to go into the 2-hole connector, and this corner will go into the 4-hole connector. So we'll get 2 black screws ready, one on the screwdriver. I don't suspect it matters which one of these we put in first, so we'll put the 2-hole in first, then we can tighten that up, and I think that will then add a lot more strength to the framework that I am probably going on a lot about worrying about. So that's in tight, that's in tight. Okay, so I think this is going to be the winner screw. This is going to add a lot more support, and you see it's very loose, but once we get this screw in, I think that will tighten that up, stop it from running away. There you go, perfect. Look, that's all gone really tight now, so I am a lot more happy with that. So next we want to let's see, I've lost where I am. Right, we need to screw the other corner of TF15 and this one. That completes the fitting, and that's it. That's the fitting of the 2 frames. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to attach this radial rib. Now what we need to do is connect these 2 pieces together, and we do that with the rib connector. Now, if you're not sure which way it goes, this small one will always go on the outside, but when you see on the actual rib, there's 2 holes, and there's 2 holes there. Those 2 holes want to go together, and you see that end has been cut at a slight angle. It's cut that way, and this one is also cut that way, so they will go in like that. And obviously you want these in the middle. So what's going to happen now is we take these screws that we believe are the correct screws for this, and I have lost my knife. Where has my knife gone? Isn't it funny, you put something down for a second, there it is. I hid it up out of camera. So we do get 5 screws for this, which means we should in theory have some spares somewhere. So what I'm going to do is I will pop this onto one. It doesn't matter which way round these go in, and the screw will not screw into into this. It will actually screw into the other side of the stiffener. So that's that, and that's in really nice. So what I'm going to do at this point, we now know that these are rib connector screws because they fit perfectly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get these other screws that we've got from the previous issue. I think these are rib connector screws, so I will pop one into the other side and we'll see if they fit. And they do. So we know these are rib connector screws. So what I'm going to do on the next one, so that's the first 2 halves on. What I'm going to do for the next rib is I'm going to get a screw that I know is incorrect, and that will enable you to see the difference. I've also got some more screws here, but I think these are something completely different. So this piece is then going to slide into there. It should slide into there like so. There we go. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get one of these ones that I know is not correct, and I'm going to show you the difference. So when you pop the screw in, what's going to happen is that is going to slide. It used to slide. That's interesting. There we go, that's just not going through. Normally what happens with these are just ever so slightly smaller. So they normally go all the way through with no screwing required. That being said, I may not have lined this up properly. Well, that's really curious, that is, because that's gone through fine. That's worried me now. There we go. There we go. Right, that, because it's smaller, I can just screw all day with that. Sometimes the screws go straight through with no effort at all, but in that particular case, there is no finish point with the screws. So when we put the correct screws in, it goes through, it goes through, it goes through, no problems. Just like the previous screw, but then bang, there's a stop point. So we know that's correct. If you had the wrong screw in, you will be twisting that screwdriver all day long. So once you've identified the correct screws, put them in a little pot. And I think these other brass ones, the ones that aren't working, I think they've got something to do with the cannons. But I've labelled them for now brass unsure. So right, so that is the radial rib complete, and all we need to do now is attach that to this. Now this is the odd bit, I'm not 100% sure where it fits. It seems to fit along here, which is a little bit odd as far as I can see. There we go, that's off a little bit. Normally this will connect along the joins, but this one is going in part way down, which I feel is a little bit unusual, but I've double checked the instructions. There's the finished model, and that's what that looks like there, so that is definitely correct. So we're going to attach that with black screws, and we'll need 2, 4, 6, 8 screws. So we'll get 8 screws ready, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's brilliant. I just picked 8 screws out. Right, so as you can see from here, this can adjust slightly, so we need that alignment correct. So I'm gonna pop 1 screw there, 1 there, 1 there, 1 there. Then I'm gonna go back and finish the screws off. And I'm not gonna screw the first 4 in fully tight, because if I need to jiggle things around a little bit, being loose, that will help me do that. So the first screw, you'd expect the first screw to go in fine. So the second one, excellent, that's gone in fine. The third one might be the difficult one, because that frame needs to be lined up properly for that to go in, so we may need to just jiggle things. Do you know what, that's actually gone in fine, so that's pretty good. And I've noticed here that the frame it's not flush, so I'll just give that a small push. Obviously the screw is going to pull that into the frame, so I suspect there might be more. No, there's not. So I'm quite curious to know why there's a rib stiffener just there. It could just be that it needs a little bit more support at that point. It could be something to do with the framework that's going to come in there. I'm really interested to find out why. So now that I've got the first 4 screws in, all the screws can now be put in tight. So I'm working my way back to the start point, putting the screw in, and then checking and tightening the screw that's next to it. So this one is going in all the way tight. You could, I suppose, put thread lock on these, couldn't you, or some kind of oil. Right, so then I'll just tighten this one that I didn't put in fully tight. I didn't put them in tight because I didn't want to make it final in case I didn't quite have the frame lined up. And And this one goes in. That's in fine. I still have a little bit of wobble on this frame, but obviously the more you handle it, the more you're going to sort of wring it a little bit. This frame is getting heavy and large, so perhaps, hopefully, we can now start thinking about the I don't even think I've got the right screwdriver head there. It doesn't seem to want to go in. Yeah, that's fine. Lovely. So the final screw going in now. And what I'll do is I'll play with it off camera. Obviously, as you probably know, when I finish the build part of the video, I show you a photo of the completed part for that week. So what I'll do is I'll have a little look for the supporting frames. I'll see if I can get those in place. If I can get them in place, if they've given me the pieces to support this, then that will be in the picture. Otherwise, it will just look something like this. So I'm just going to recheck these screws. These are my worry screws. Yeah, it's still, but again, once we get the panels on there, that will be fine. Okay guys, so that is the whole issue completed. Another short and easy issue. That actually makes me quite happy, because sometimes a rest is good. So that's it then, and I will see you next week.